So what if an assassination attempt on a former U.S. president wasn't just some random lone wolf attack? Today, we're going to unpack a pretty shocking claim that this event was actually part of a much larger, complex plot of international revenge. A story that connects a rally in Pennsylvania all the way to the highest levels of the Iranian government.
Yeah, it all starts with this one single moment of violence. A moment that was broadcast live for the entire world to see and instantly became the biggest story in the country.
So, let's start at the beginning. We're at a political rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. What was supposed to be a pretty standard campaign stop would, in just a matter of seconds turn into a scene of national crisis. Picture this. Former President Donald Trump is up there addressing the crowd, and then suddenly a gunman on a nearby rooftop just opens fire. The moments that followed were, well, they were pure chaos. You had Secret Service agents swarming to protect him as panic just erupted, and it only ended when the shooter was finally neutralized. And for a little while, that seemed to be the whole story. But then, something completely unexpected happened. An explosive claim surfaced from a federal terrorism trial in Brooklyn that seemed totally unrelated, a claim that would suggest this was no random act of violence at all. The person at the center of this new theory is a 47-year-old Pakistani national named Asif Merchant. Now, he was on trial in Brooklyn, and he was facing a lifetime in prison on some very serious federal terrorism charges. And from that witness stand, he made an absolutely stunning claim. So he gets on the stand, right, testifying in his own defense, and he alleges that Iranian leadership had actually instructed him to hunt down and assassinate American political leaders. He claimed the attack in Butler was just uncannily similar to the very plot that he had been given. And when you look at the parallels he's talking about, they are, well, they're chillingly specific. He said his Iranian handlers told him to target a political leader at a rally, use a sniper from up high, and then use all the chaos to get away. As you can see, every single one of those elements mirrors exactly what happened in Butler. So the big question is, should we believe this guy? Well, prosecutors, they painted a very different picture. They brought out evidence that Merchant had paid thousands in cash to undercover FBI agents who were posing as hitmen. They even had what they said was the assassination plan written down on a hotel napkin. And get this, the timing here is absolutely critical. Merchant was arrested just one day before the Butler attack. Okay, so all of this brings up the huge question of motive. I mean, why? Why would Iran allegedly orchestrate an attack like this? The source material points directly to one word: revenge. And really, both Merchant's testimony and other intelligence, they all point to this single motive: retaliation for that 2020 U.S. airstrike that killed Qasem Soleimani, who was one of Iran's most powerful military leaders. Ever since that strike happened, tensions have just been simmering, with Iran vowing to get its revenge.
And you know what? This kind of threat, it wasn't exactly new. In fact, U.S. intelligence believed that Iran was actively plotting to assassinate Trump as recently as 2024, which prompted the Secret Service to seriously ramp up his security.
And look, this feeling of a direct, personal conflict, it really seems to go both ways. Just listen to what President Trump himself said after a U.S. strike that targeted Iran's supreme leader. "I got him before he got me. They tried twice, well, I got him first." It really frames this whole thing not just as a conflict between nations, but between two individuals. All right, so you've got these absolutely explosive allegations swirling around. How did Washington react? Well, the answer says a lot less about foreign policy and, frankly, a lot more about the deep political divisions we have right here at home.
The whole thing came to a head with a House resolution. It was a pretty straightforward vote, really, to formally declare Iran as the world's greatest state sponsor of terror, and it's a vote that had been held before.
But this is where it gets really interesting, because the numbers here tell a fascinating story. Just a few years back, under President Biden, basically the same resolution passed with only a single no vote, just one. But this time, with Trump in office, 53 Democrats voted against it. So what on earth changed?
Well, what this shift really suggests is that for a lot of people, this vote stopped being just about labeling Iran a state sponsor of terror. It kind of became a vote about the president himself. It's just a stark example of how foreign policy, which used to be an area where you might find some consensus, has become just another battlefield in America's partisan wars.
So where does all of this leave us? I mean, you've got this shocking attack on U.S. soil, you have these explosive claims of a foreign plot, and then you have a political reaction that seems totally driven by partisanship. It really all boils down to a fundamental question. In these moments of crisis, is our policy shaped by credible intelligence,
Or is it just about who happens to be winning the political battle of the day?